You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict.
Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault. And you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the recovery addict's live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican, please. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Alrighty. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict. What? A nighttime stream? Yes, we have a nighttime stream because we have some breaking news. We have some updates. We have some spiciness to go over. Oh my goodness, is it good? I've got a special drink for me. It's supposed to be for my voice. You guys tell me if this is going to make it miserable or doable. Because I've got a little bit of reading to do tonight. I wish it were all video. I wish it was a police chase, action-packed. I've got some reading to do. And I'm going to be reading some court documents. 39 pages of court documents. And apparently I'll be reading my own name in these court documents. Yes, we found our way into the court documents for the Maya trial. And by we, I mean the lawyer Rob from Law and Lumber, and recovery addicts. And a couple of our friends as well, I guess you could say. People that are fellow true crime addicts. Welcome, first of all, Jen Edwards and Leondis the kitty. Welcome to the gallery. Wonderful to have you here. A rare nighttime stream. And I also have to say, she's trying to lay low. But Calypson's Vixen, one of our great mods, she's not feeling the best, but she was first in chat. So I'm sorry you're sick, Amber. But guess what? Yep, you have to get up. You've got to put on your big girl pants, go to work, and maintain the internet all through the holiday weekend. And you should have thought of that before you were first in chat. You know better. Just kidding. Amber, I hope you're feeling great. Congratulations being first in chat. You have won the internet. I can't change it. I can't do anything about that. All right, where was I missed this one right here. Jen Edwards and Leondis the kitty. Welcome. I like the cat has his paws around you. I've seen this before. When the cat does that move on your arm, it's all nice and soft until you try to pull your hand away and then the claws come out. Wow. And how do I know this? A friend told me. As I've got this little bit of blood, just a little scratch. I've seen that move before. Anyway, we have a new motion. Yes, a motion filed by the defense for a new trial about juror number 1. I've known about this for a little while today. I actually jumped on the Sarasota court case page, the docket page, and was looking for documents. And between refreshes, it showed up, and it was open to the public. And I downloaded it, and I got the 39 pages. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And I'm playing with it. And I'm like, wow, it's got the juror's name and address in here. Whoa, didn't expect that. And later I refreshed again, and there were 3 appendixes, which are going to be probably screenshots, documents, pictures, everything that's referenced in this file. Those appendixes are up now, but now all of it is behind a little lock and seal. But I got my copy when it was open to the public, and that's what I'm going off of. I have redacted the juror's name, I've redacted the juror's address, and I've redacted the juror's wife's name out of this. I've read through the entire thing, I think quite thoroughly. I think I've got a good, clean copy, and I'm comfortable sharing that. But just so you know that in the course of tonight, as we go over this document and read this together, I'm going to be sharing my opinion as well, which a lot of times I don't do, but I'm going to be sharing my opinion. And it is just that. It is my opinion. And it might not hold any weight whatsoever, but I like it, and I'm going to share it with you tonight. So that's what we're going to do. All right, lots of chats. See here, Amanda E. Hey, RA, what a pleasant surprise. Glad to see you this evening. We'll see after 39 pages of reading if you're still glad to see me or hear me. Polar water is good. I drink the seltzer version, no sugar or artificial sweetener. This is a premium half and half natural grapefruit and lemon flavor. And I've got another one chilling in the fridge if I need it, but we'll see. Brandy did a North Carolina police car chase today. I saw that come across my feed. I was in the middle of this. I've been several hours involved in this, trying to figure out what was up. But yes, Jay Hatch is back at it, at least their legal team. I think we have some sworn testimony by Mr. Hunter and possibly Shapiro, I think, if I remember correctly. So apparently, defense team, welcome to the channel. Hope you're subscribers. Love to see you in chat sometime. I think you guys know how chat works, and we'll see exactly how that works later on. But apparently, also, with this going before the judge, we have another judge who might be interested in our channel, which is just great. So welcome, Judge Carroll, as if you get to read this, and to all the defense team who's apparently here. Welcome. I don't feel bad. I've said some nice things about you during the trial. I might have been mistaken, but I don't feel bad about doing that. Hurry, it makes sense. What is happening? Make it make sense. Scott, you're the best. We're thankful for you, says Nikki. Thank you. We're going to get started. Hey, Kurt's here as well. Hello, Kurt. I apologize. I'm not streaming on StreamYard, or I'd invite you in to comment, but I can't bring another person in on the way I'm streaming without causing my computer to have a major heart attack. Okay, so let's get ready for a couple things here. First, let's bring up, where are we at? We're going to be on number 3. Let's bring this up. Okay, all right. This is good. I apologize. I'm not going to be able to focus on chat so much while this is going on. I will tell you, before we get started, I'm going to give you just a moment to play with the commands before we get started, because I'm going to turn them down or very, very quiet. We did make 2 new commands in honor of the recent trial that we heard. One of them is lunch, and the other is XP. Lunch and XP. So we just need one person to try them out so you can hear them. But if you do one at a time, then you'll hear them both. If you do them both at the same time, then you'll hear them both.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Well, so that works. Hang on. Let's see if they work.
I'm not a chat.
Someone with more experience.
Yes, there it is. There's the XP. The lunch one is judge what time we're having lunch, and the XP is let's send someone with more experience next time. So we have those two. We'll get to that a little bit better. All right, I'm super excited to read through this, and I'm going to try to do it as cleanly as possible. And I might have to take a couple pauses and a couple sips of drink. So let's get going. Without further ado, we're going to get going. I'm going to turn the audio down just a tiny bit. And I think those audio sound clips are a little quiet anyway. I'll have to turn them up later. So here we go. This is filed today. You can see this is the Circuit Court of the 12th Circuit, Judicial Circuit for Sarasota County. You've got the family there versus Johns Hopkins. You look at the very important part here on the bottom. This is the stamp filed with the clerk. Yeah, that's where I got it. I got it from the clerk. I'm not sure why they had it public. When I got it, it was public. And now they've got it under lock and key. But this is the public version, so I'm not sure how that changed. But here we go. So defendant says this. Defendant's motion for new trial based on juror misconduct, motion for juror interview, motion to open discovery into evidence of juror misconduct, and emergency motion to preserve evidence. This is the headlines. This is what they want to do. Defendant, Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, by and through undersigned counsel and pursuant to Rules 1.431 and 1.530, Florida Rules of Civil Procedure, hereby moves this court for an order permitting an interview of juror number 1, opening discovery into evidence of juror misconduct, requiring the preservation of certain evidence on an emergency basis, and granting a new trial based on juror misconduct on the grounds set forth herein. Introduction. According to the Florida Supreme Court, potentially harmful juror misconduct, including contact with a juror during trial about a pending matter, is presumptively prejudicial. Case law. I'm going to skip the case law citings. A party seeking a juror interview does not have to conclusively establish that the alleged juror misconduct occurred and actually prejudiced his case. Case law. Skip. Motion for juror interview must state the grounds for challenge that the party believes may exist. When do we break for lunch, Judge? Sorry. Rather, it's only necessary that the party establish a basis for an inquiry or grounds that the party believes may exist. And let me back up just a little bit. At the bottom of page 1, I was supposed to read this. Florida rule, right down here, it states that the motion for a juror interview must state the name and address of each juror to be interviewed in the grounds for the challenge. And so by rule, they have to include the juror's name and address, which I have blocked out, but they just refer to the juror as juror number one. But they also refer to the juror number one's wife by her name, so I've edited that out as well, just as abundance of caution for me.
Have them send someone with more experience.
Have them send someone with more experience. That would be a great idea. What? Okay, so what they're asking for here, Mrs. Ari says, stop and translate. What they're doing is they're basically saying a juror behaved poorly or something happened that was wrong. People communicated with a jury. We want to interview the juror. We want to get access motion for discovery into evidence. Basically, they want text messages. They want screenshots of live streams. Yes, my live stream included. They want all these things, and they want an emergency motion to preserve evidence. They say, and we want to make sure nobody can delete it. Okay, we want to make sure nobody can delete it. So this is going to be before the judge to see if he'll approve this. Once improper contact or juror misconduct is established by juror interview, the moving party is entitled to a new trial unless the opposing party can demonstrate that there is no reasonable possibility that the juror misconduct affected the verdict. Cites case law that says a new trial is based on improper contact may be required under some circumstances as a matter of public policy for the purpose of maintaining confidence in the integrity of jury trials. This motion sets forth a reasonable basis for a belief that juror number one, the foreperson, engaged in presumptively prejudicial misconduct during the course of the trial by deliberately disregarding the court's specific instructions to not discuss the case with anyone during the trial, not to consider any evidence or information outside of what was presented during the trial, and not to form or express any opinion about the case prior to deliberations. Those are the three things they say he did wrong. Okay? He talked, according to them, he says, juror number one talked to people during the trial, considered information from outside source, and formed or expressed an opinion. So now they're going to expound on this a little bit. Expound on this. This motion is supported by the sworn affidavit of one Mr. Ethan R. Shapiro, who we know is trustworthy and above reproach and never steps in during trial. Esquire, by the way, Esquire. Attached here too is Exhibit A. Hello, Mr. Shapiro. If you're watching this, click the like button. The affidavit and evidence attached hereunto as Exhibit B, discovered by defense counsel after the verdict reveals potentially harmful and therefore presumptively prejudicial juror misconduct arising out of improper communications and contacts between juror one and his wife, Mrs., collectively the juror family, who resided in the same household during the course of the 9-week trial. Imagine that. Imagine that the husband and wife resided in the audacity of a husband and wife to live together. Who does that nowadays? Anyway, the evidence reveals a shocking level of involvement in the case and palpable bias in favor of the plaintiffs on the part of juror number one's wife, the Mrs., as well as social media posts sharing inside information Mrs. could only have obtained from her husband. Really? Considered in its totality, the evidence provides a reasonable basis for a belief that juror number one disregarded his juror oath and this court's instructions by engaging in improper juror communications and contacts. Juror number one's own post-verdict involvement on social media corroborates defendant's belief that the family engaged in improper contacts and communications regarding the case and formed a shared bias in plaintiff's favor, as evidenced by the verdict. In addition to the presumptively prejudicial contacts and communications between juror number one and his wife, the evidence warrants a juror interview and a new trial for the added reason that juror number one's wife's involvement on social media during the course of the trial, her undisguised bias in favor of the plaintiffs, and her alignment with a social media influencer closely linked to the plaintiffs, known as Jules. Hello, Jules. I hope you're doing great. Jules, you're amazing. Thank you. As the spouse and the jury foreman, undeniably compromises the integrity of the judicial system. Defendant, therefore, moves for an order permitting an interview of juror number one and his wife to establish the presumptively prejudicial contacts and communications described herein as grounds for the defendant's entitlement to a new trial. Defendant additionally moves for an order permitting discovery of information establishing juror misconduct by juror number one, as well as an order requiring juror number one and his wife to preserve evidence, including text messages, social media activity, and other electronic data pertinent to their communications and contacts with one another and with other third parties regarding the case on an emergency basis to avoid spoliation of evidence. Factual background. Post-trial research and information is obtained regarding Mrs. social media history reveals that her personal engagement with the public's commentary on this trial is unlike that of a member of the public who shares a general interest of the case. Really? Have you met our community, Mr. Shapiro? Have you met our community? Do you understand what a true crime addict is like? Oh my goodness. Okay. He continues, and is particularly inappropriate given her role as the wife of the jury foreman. The Mrs. social media posts foreshadowed with questions from juror number 1 to witnesses, shared information on the thought process of the jury, and highlighted her heavy personal bias in favor of the plaintiffs and emotional investment on a verdict in their favor. A bias apparently shared by her husband, juror number 1. The posts give rise to a reasonable belief and concern on the part of the defendant that the jury's verdict has been tainted and that the defendant has been deprived of its right to a fair trial before an impartial jury. In addition to her posts, the Mrs. presence at trial casts further doubt on the integrity of the jury verdict, which was guided by her husband as the jury foreman. On October 30th, the Mrs. physically attended trial proceedings in this case, where her husband was impaneled as juror number 1. Juror number 1 said nothing of her presence. Prior to her appearance, the Mrs. sought out Jules, who was demonstratively embedded with the plaintiffs and served as their public advocate, if not de facto agent, both at trial and subsequent to the verdict. The Mrs. and Jules exchanged personal phone numbers, and Mrs. made plans in advance to meet Jules in the courtroom. On October 30th, Mrs. can be seen in video footage in the courtroom for the entire day, often seated next to and speaking with Jules. How dare the public talk to each other? How dare they? For her part, Jules became notorious Jules. I think there's a meme there that needs to be made. For her part, Jules became notorious in the online communities that covered the trial because she not only physically attended trial each day, which was amazing and heroic, thank you, Jules, but also provided regular updates on her social media platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. They clearly don't follow Jules. We have tried to get her on YouTube for ages, but she only is on TikTok. Jules also shared her personal conversations with the Kowalski family, as well as her observations in the courtroom regarding the jury. It is apparent from these videos that Jules shares a close relationship with Jack and Maya Kowalski, making her friendship with the Mrs. all the more inappropriate. For example, on October 9th, Jules posted a video on her TikTok page stating that she gave Maya Kowalski her rosary beads prior to Maya's live testimony that day. On October 11th, Jules called into the Recovery Addict... Who? What? The Recovery Addict YouTube live stream covering the trial, stating that she texted with Maya over the weekend and, after giving her the rosary beads, asked plaintiff's counsel not to object to the jury's questions regarding whether Maya carried a rosary because she knew Maya had the rosary beads in her pocket. This demonstrates that Jules was more than just a public observer of the trial, but an active participant and de facto agent for the plaintiffs. Jules even publicly shared photographs of herself with the plaintiff's experts and members of the plaintiff's trial team, as did every other person who attended there and got photos with all them. And even appeared center stage in a photograph with the plaintiffs and their counsel after the verdict was read. In light of Jules' intimate relationship with and bias in favor of plaintiffs, the development of an alignment, if not friendship, between Jules and juror number 1's wife is alarming. Defendant was entitled to a trial before a fair and impartial jury. The fact that with the jury foreman's wife, with whom he resided during the course of the 9-week trial, don't forget, they lived together. Okay, don't forget, this is very important. They were married and they lived together. Engaged in friendly discussions while in close proximity to plaintiff's advocate, Jules, contributes to defendant's reasonable belief that it has been denied its right to a fair trial. Defendant has obtained evidence demonstrating that the Mrs. was heavily engaged with the trial online before and after she physically appeared in court, posting comments about the case that are unequivocally, this is in italics, so it must be important, unequivocally and palpably pro-plaintiff, in italics. Operating under the YouTube username HippoLover, Mrs. began posting information, insights, and opinions about the case as early as October 13th during livestream coverage of the trial on Law and Lumber, Recovery Addict, and Lawyer You Know YouTube channels, and followed numerous journalists and vloggers covering this trial, including the producer of the Netflix documentary Take Care of Maya, the audacity, and plaintiff's trial technology consultant. Wow, there's a plaintiff's trial technology consultant. Is he the dude that has the Alienware computer? I need to follow him. Somebody can send me his link. Apparently, he's the one to follow. On a near daily basis, the missus spent hours online engaged in commentary about the trial proceeding, both in real time and after the trial day had ended and the jury was sent home, including her husband, juror number 1, with whom she resided. That's the third time they mentioned it. Don't forget, they lived together. These social media platforms transmitted commentary to audiences of thousands. Why, yes, they did. They did. And exposed the missus and brought into the family household information about the trial that juror number 1 should not have been aware of, as well as evidence not made available to the jury. In several instances, the missus even donated money to these YouTube channels. Thank you, Hippo Lover. You're amazing. Thank you very much. That offered both live coverage and reaction commentary to the trial to ensure that her comments would be spotlighted to the thousands of individuals that tuned into the live stream broadcasts. It strains credulity to believe that the family were not discussing the case. Now, let me pause right here. The defense counsel, as they get together and look at the fact that a juror was married and had the audacity to live with his wife in the same house, they cannot believe that this juror could then also follow the judge's admonition, as he did in every other regard, to my knowledge, and not talk to her about the case for 9 weeks. They can't wrap their head around it. And let me just say, just echo from court, they still don't get it. It strains credulity to believe that the family were not discussing the case in violation of this court's instructions. To the contrary, the evidence provides more than a reasonable basis to believe that the family were exchanging information and beliefs regarding the case about defendant's predetermined culpability in violation of this court's instructions and Florida law. For example, during the live testimony of Detective Graham, at a time when the detective was under cross-examination by plaintiff's counsel, the missus foreshadowed involvement she could only have learned from her husband, juror number 1, when she posted the following comment. The juror, LEO, law enforcement officer, will be asking questions. Okay, now there's exhibits. They have screenshots for all of these. For all of these. Very similar to the screenshots of Shapiro's wife on Facebook. I know, we're not going to get into that. But they have screenshots of everything. And so they think that because the wife sitting there listening to the testimony of a detective and knowing that a juror has a specific juror to be exact, has law enforcement experience, be like, oh, he's going to have questions. Clearly, that shows that they beforehand, they talked about the testimony that was going to occur that they did not know was going to happen, and discussed the result of said testimony that they also did not know was going to happen. Mr. Shapiro, think this one through. Edit this, resubmit. This part should be out. Bless me, excuse me. Let's see. The day prior, the missus portended a challenge by her husband, juror number 1, to Detective Graham when she posted, Detective Grant, LEO, law enforcement officer, juror, LOL. On November 8th, while the jury was deliberating, Mrs. paid to Super Chat. Clearly, this is, we're talking about reprehensible behavior. Paid to Super Chat the following comment. I think the note yesterday was frustrated jury that cannot reach the money agreement and it will take days. I think she had a thought. Her own thought. Exhibit B, slide 5. The missus was apparently interpreting the juror's thoughts in relation to juror number 1's question the day prior regarding a request for a report by plaintiff's economist expert Christy Kirby, and she was right. How dare she have a thought and be right? Mr. Shapiro is or Mr. Hunter, I'm not sure who wrote this one. They're offended by the fact that happens. Her comment contained inside information she could only have obtained from her husband. What information? I think they're frustrated they can't reach an agreement. We all thought the same thing, and nobody else except for her was married to the juror. Why can we have that thought, but she cannot? I don't know. On October 31st, 2023, the day after the testimony of Catherine Beatty, the missus commented they, the jury, did not like Kathy Beatty or any of the witnesses defendant presented at trial the day prior. But how could the missus have known whether the jury liked Miss Beatty? I can tell you, Jules told us. She sat there in court like all the other observers and looked at the jury. And when they were shaking their heads and scowling and flipping the bird, I don't know. I don't think they flipped the bird. I'm exaggerating here just a little bit. But they probably had some sort of body language where they thought, you know what? I don't think they're buying what she's selling. And then she said it. How could she have known? Unless her husband told her. Is this the only way wives can know anything? Is if their husband told her? Seriously, this is so misogynistic that it is. Anyway, okay. I'm going to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I'm just sharing my thoughts as I think this through. I might be wrong on every single thing. I might be, but I think I'm right. And I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not an expert. I don't get paid to make analysis like this. I'm just sharing with you as it comes. All right, so here we go. How could the missus have known whether the jury liked Miss Beatty aside from the information she obtained from her husband? And how could she have known that the jury did not like any of the other defense witnesses except for the information communicated to her by juror number 1, of which there is zero evidence this ever occurred, to my knowledge? Other comments and posts by the missus reflect that she was doing more than inappropriately engaging with the trial proceedings online. She was even monitoring the court's docket and reviewing court filings. How many of you, by a show of hands, monitor the court's docket and review court filings? Can you just raise your hand in chat and let me know if you have ever sunk to this level? That clearly shows that you would not be able to have any family members ever serve on a jury. This is what I do every single day. I've got like 3 different dockets I pull up. I'm searching for Sarah Boone to see what's new. I'm searching for Sarasota County. But clearly she has sunk to this level. Inappropriately engaging with the trial proceedings online in an open record state. For example, on October 18th, the missus commented, "Interesting motion just on the case about DV yesterday on the Sarasota County Clerk of Court." Okay, this is the website, the public website. The DV motion by the defendants basically said that if the judge granted no appellate court on no appellate court. Okay, so she got the screenshot. On November 3rd, regarding the joint commission issue that surfaced towards the end of the trial. Really, it just surfaced towards the end? Why was that, Mr. Shapiro? Why did it not surface earlier? Say like in deposition earlier, when the questions were being asked and answers were deserved. Oh, I know why. Because you filed a protective order in the middle of the depot and you called it quits. That's why. That's why it had to surface later, because it took a while for the Dracula to be unburied. That's why. Anyway, she wrote about this. The deposition today at 4 in Tampa regarding the JC documents. The motion is in the court record filed by Mr. Anderson. In that vein, the missus also did Google research on the case, as evidenced by her comment, "There's a case on Google." Clearly, this is inside information. Anyone who's able to access Google is clearly an insider. There's a case on Google. Carol versus Carol, about the Judge Carol's mom, about the judge when he was 16. Judge Alterborn was the appeals judge. Super interesting. Sorry, she had a typo. It was super interesting. Mrs. found super interesting and post-worthy that defense counsel Chris Altenburn was involved years ago in an appeal involving the judge presiding over the trial, which demonstrates how deeply involved she became, not only in observing and commenting on the trial, but in researching about the trial and lawyers and even the judge. I found the same connection and posted on it and spoke about it during the trial. Had no idea anything about Hippo Lover also doing that. She might have actually heard about it from me. I'm just saying, let me just put that out there. On October 27th, the missus commented, "I think Sally SM only relied on the Tampa General Hospital to decide, discounted all others." Another exhibit. There's going to be screenshots, pages and pages of screenshots. I'm pretty sure you'll see my face on there somewhere. The missus was advocating for the plaintiff's position and against the veracity of Dr. Sally Smith on a consequential issue in the case, not coincidentally, in a purposed question dated October 12th, 2023. Juror number 1 questioned the court regarding the existence of probable cause of improper actions of Sally Smith in her assigned role at JHatch. Was she written up or coached? Similarly, on October 19th, while the jury was formulating questions related to the testimony of Johanna Klink, APRN, The missus wrote, "They should ask if the nurse Clink lied, LOL." The missus posts, as compared with the juror number one's questions, are additional evidence of improper contacts and communications between the missus or the family, warranting both a juror interview and a new trial under Florida law. Through several of her comments and posts, the missus also inappropriately expressed concern that the clock was running out for plaintiffs to put on their case. For example, in 4 separate comments posted October 17th, the missus wrote, "Anderson is burning time. He won't have any left to defend. He needs to be careful on time. I think you're right. Depots to burn time and bringing witnesses that will burn Anderson so he will use time. I wonder if they defense are getting these witnesses so Anderson runs out of time. Don't burn your hours, Anderson, please. We need you." She could have been talking to me, because throughout this, I said, "Mr. Anderson, you're burning time. You're running out of time." And so she says, "You're right. I think you're right. He's burning time." But why was the missus of the opinion that the plaintiffs were running out of time? Because they were running out of time. The judge kept saying, "You're running out of time. Mindful of your time. You only have this much time left." That's why. If she wasn't discussing the case with her husband, how else would a woman learn such knowledge if her husband didn't tell her? It sounds bad even saying that, but this is what I read when I hear this document. A woman can only learn this if her husband tells her. And who was she referring to when she said, "I think you're right"? Oh, hey, that's me, Shapiro. That's me right here. Recovery addict. Good to have you here. Click the subscribe button. Her bias in favor of the plaintiffs and the depth of her knowledge regarding the case in her role as the jury foreperson's wife, with whom she was living during the 9-week trial. 4th time she's living with him. Well, it was probably the same time, but the 4th time they've mentioned it, okay, is undeniable and palpable and creates more of a reasonable bias to believe that defendants suspected when they filed their motion to disqualify that juror number one shared that same bias. The missus also somehow knew or believed the jury was asking questions that were purportedly serving to save plaintiff's time on the shot clock. For example, on October 19th, the missus wrote, "Maybe Anderson will cross after questions to save time." On October 19th, the missus posted, "So proud of Anderson, he was like a cat. No questions after.
For the trees.
Just to pounce after the jury questions. Kudos. Good work, Mr. Anderson." October 20th, the missus paid to a super chat the following comment: "If plaintiff runs out of time, can the depositions be played since part goes to the plaintiff's time?" Great question. Great question. And that's what it is, a question. On October 25th, the missus commented, "Yes, more hours for plaintiff!" exclamation point. In response to continued questions from the jurors on October 19th, the missus commented, "Jury love it." Okay, are you seeing the deep collusion? The secret communications anywhere? I'm not. Even in evidence of a shared alignment between juror number one and his wife as to the desired outcome of the trial were not so compelling, even if they were not. And it is, according to the defense. Defendant would still satisfy the standard for a juror interview. Specifically, the entire internet community, all of us, everybody online.
I'm not a cat.
And you got Amber specifically. Amber's taking care of the internet today. She knows how many people are online. Can you tell us what the number is for the entire internet community, Amber? If you can just check your dashboard for your control. Anyway, the entire internet community was made aware of the heavy bias in the plaintiff's favor on the part of the juror's wife, plainly compromising the integrity of the jury process. As will be shown, even an appearance of impropriety warrants a new trial as a matter of public policy under Florida law. Amber has the current number. That's how many people were made known that the plaintiff was on the right side on this one. Unless, of course, you were on any of the mainstream channels, and then it was like equally that number of people who were made known that the plaintiff was the devil. Okay, it's funny that there's like different opinions on the internet, and sometimes they don't agree. But there we go. All right, so we'll continue. What page are we on? We're on page 13. We're a third of the way through, guys. We're a third. I haven't even cracked open my bottle. As his wife and household companion, there it is again. They just slid that in there. As his wife and household companion, remember, together, same house, married. During the course of the 9-week trial, the missus was serving as juror number one's agent to the internet world. Seriously? The missus has compromised the public confidence of the integrity of the jury system through her biased posts and improper emotional investment in a verdict in plaintiff's favor, given her role as the juror number one's spouse. Her actions also brought information into the household this court prohibited the jurors from reviewing.
Have them send someone with more experience.
On November 6, 2023, the court heard defendant's motion to disqualify juror number 1, which was premised on the juror number 1's suspected bias and prejudice in favor of the plaintiffs. Plaintiff's counsel, Mr. Anderson, changed his position several times throughout the course of the oral arguments on defense motion. Upon being pressed for a response by the court, Mr. Anderson replied, "I changed my mind. I'll go with juror number 106. So I'll agree with you." You know what happened right then, Mr. Shapiro? Jazz hands. That's what happened. Your side was like fist bump and jazz hands. And then Mr. Anderson said, "I think I've got to go with that." Then as the court was outlining, Mr. Anderson responded, "I think I'm going to go with that." Then as the court was outlining the agreement of the parties and identifying which alternate would take juror number 1's place, Mr. Anderson abruptly announced, "You know who I didn't check with throughout this whole thing? My client." After about 15 seconds, Mr. Anderson changed his position yet again and announced, "I'm going to go with my client. I have to switch positions because my client feels more comfortable with juror number 1. So I'm going to switch positions based on my client's input," emphasis added. It's funny that they say, "I changed my mind. I'll go with juror number 106. And then later they say, then as the court was outlining the agreement to the parties and identifying which alternate would take juror number 1's place, which literally was right up here. So they say it happened down here, but it's literally in quotes up here. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And you spelled lumber wrong, Mr. Hunter. I realize your back's hurting you. You spelled it lumbar. You spelled it lumbar. And Rob's offended and he wants an official apology. No, he isn't, but you should give him one anyway. Anyway, let's see. Mr. Anderson announced, "You know who I didn't check with? It was my client." And he changes, goes more comfortable with juror number 1. Okay, I think I might need a drink. In response, Mr. Kowalski, who advocated to keep juror number 1 of the jury, can be seen turning to Jules and nodding his head with a smile. Was there a wink? Tell me, Mr. Shapiro, was it like the wink from the creepy witness? Like the wink at the jury? Because that was probably something too, right? Why isn't that in here? Okay, he turns and nods his head with a smile. This exchange is further evidence of an alignment between plaintiffs and Jules to insulate a verdict in plaintiff's favor by retaining juror number 1, who, along with his wife, was heavily biased in plaintiff's favor. Probably at the end of the trial, he was biased in plaintiff's favor. Because of the evidence. After the trial, during deliberations. That's when that bias appeared, I think. What defendant suspected before the verdict, based on juror number 1's questions, i.e. a bias in favor of the plaintiffs, warranting his removal as juror and replacement with an alternate, was demonstrated beyond just a reasonable belief after the verdict. Specifically, the Mrs. was not the only member of the husband and wife pair to engage in public internet posts regarding the case. Following the verdict, juror number 1 joined his wife on these public platforms by immediately posting to the Take Care of Maya Facebook group, a plaintiff-favored internet community hotly opposed to any commentary favoring the defense. Created in response to the calculated and sensationalized Take Care of Maya Netflix series. I think he's butthurt. He's just a little bit chapped about the whole Netflix series. The calculated and sensationalized Netflix series. Juror number 1 quickly posted, "Oh, now that is funny too. Too cool too. An AI generated image of Judge Carroll in battle gear, standing in front of a smoking picture of a J-Hatch building with the caption, 'I went and got the IJ documents myself.'" There's a meme out there of the judge looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in an action movie with, ripped muscles and everything, mohawk, and he's like, "I went and got them myself." Okay, it's hilarious, and it's in the document. It's going to be in the appendix. It's been submitted to the judge. The judge is going to have to look at this, and he's like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good picture. Do you mind if I blow this up and put it on my wall?" Oh my goodness! So this is what they've scooped up. This is the best evidence they have of a problem. The best evidence. Oh my goodness! The exhibits are coming. The exhibits are coming. Right now they're under lock and key. I wish I could have grabbed them when they were available publicly, but I did not get them. Somebody might have grabbed them out there. They might surface, but they'll be out eventually. It just might take a week. So juror number 1 quickly posted, "Oh, that's funny. That's right. I went to get the documents myself." There's the exhibit, slide 50. That's the one you want to watch for, guys. Exhibit B, slide 50. There's 122 pages. Greener says I emailed it to you. They're all in your email. Greeners, you're a hero. We might have exhibits, guys. We might have exhibits. Okay, so the impropriety of the image of the judge presiding over this highly publicized trial condemning the defense, coupled with the jury foreman's undisguised delight in the image, is additional evidence of jury impropriety and misconduct. I think he's just jealous that he was not the guy with the ripped muscles and the mohawk that went and delivered the IJ in the meme. In the meme, literally. Okay. On November 10th, the day after the verdict was announced, the missus posted a photo of juror number one on the day after the verdict was announced. The missus posted a photo of juror number one on the Take Care of Maya Facebook group, thanking everyone who stuck up for juror number one, presumably referring to defendant's motion to disqualify juror number one. There's a picture. We get to see the picture of the juror in that picture. That same day, juror number one posted the following comment in response. While the other jurors were escorted down to be transported, I was asked to remain by SCSO Lieutenant. Oh boy, I'm in trouble again. But it was just for some security talk about that. Oops. So clearly, this is a problem. And there's a picture there as well, another screenshot. Juror number one's comment about being in trouble once again indicates that he knew prior to being released from the courthouse that the defendant had moved to dismiss him as a juror, a fact that he should not have known about if he was abiding by this court's explicit instruction not to discuss this case with anyone or do any research on the case. Or just anytime the boss says, hey, you got to stick around, you're like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble again. It might just be a little saying. I don't think that means that, uh-oh, this is the second time on this case that something has gone wrong and I might be the... No. I think you're reading so much into this that doesn't exist, Mr. Shapiro. The fact that juror number one has exposed information relating to the defendant's motion to remove him as a juror in violation to the... which has not been proved yet, in violation of this court's instructions, is further evidenced by the Mrs. post thanking the pro-plaintiff Facebook group who stuck up for her husband. Juror number one continued to post his plaintiff's favored Facebook group to this page, which hailed him as a hero for being responsible for the verdict against the defendant hospital. While juror number one made sure to repeatedly express that it was not solely his decision, he seemed to enjoy his newfound notoriety among these online platforms by engaging in posts and videos celebrating him as a hero. And we have pictures. To date, juror number one continues to post about the case, even to the point of advising the internet community regarding filings that will be made on Wednesday, November 22nd. That's today. That's this one. The internet community, in turn, has suggested that juror number one remain humble and quiet out of respect for the process. But as defendant has shown by reference to evidence, juror number one apparently has no respect for the judicial process or for the defendant's right to be to a fair trial before an impartial jury. If interviewed, defendant expects juror number one to respond with a self-serving denial of any communications with his wife about the trial, probably because they didn't happen. That's just my guess. I'm just speaking from the heart here. But on Facebook, juror number one loved a comment. He loved it. He clicked the heart, which clearly means it's love. He loved a comment by a user praising the fact that his whole family was able to come to court and observe the trial. That's cool. In another comment, when a user pointed out that juror number one's wife being in the audience could be a problem for the verdict, juror number one laughed at the comment to mock it because it's not a problem. Juror number one also liked a comment from the group, which he advised him to be careful regarding what questions he asked, as a new trial could be granted if he says something now that implies he made up his mind. More screenshots. These posts demonstrate that juror number one's bias, which served as the basis for the defendant's motion to disqualify juror number one, was apparent to the plaintiff's favored online communities that supported juror number one. Why else would juror number one need to be careful if he had remained impartial throughout the trial? And why did these users worry about juror number one's wife being in the audience? Probably for the same reason somebody in South Africa wrote to the judge, said, hey, there's a problem. Recovery addict can hear what's happening in court. And guess what? He's telling people. Yeah, it's because they don't know it's not a problem. That's why. On November 11th, so we're already in court we're already in the order because of that. But thanks for the email. Anyway, that was from a follower here. On November 11th, 2023, juror number one also joined the Law and Lumber YouTube live stream. That was great. I was on that show. I was where I watched it happen. Paid the host, known as Rob. I think Rob should be like highlighted in gray or something. It sounds like an evil guy there. Rob, $100, and commented that he would be happy to discuss the case with him. Exhibit B, slide 54. They're taking screenshots of super chats. I kid you not. I kid you not. Rob, a lawyer himself, appreciating the appearance of the impropriety arising out of juror number one's communications, advised juror number one to first consult with the plaintiff's counsel before speaking publicly. Great advice. Juror number one then paid Rob $2 in return for the advice. The best advice you can ever get for the lawyer, and he paid $2 for it. $2. Rob needs to raise his rates. I'm just saying. You give good advice out there, you need to charge more than $2 for it. Commenting, agreed. Another slideshow. Another exhibit. Juror number one later removed several of his comments from the Facebook group, evidence that he too realized the appearance of impropriety his actions were demonstrating to the internet community, and therefore that his conduct was necessary, undermining the public confidence in the integrity of the jury system. Look, we've got Law and Lumber right there, the YouTube link. You can click it, and we can go there. We can watch it ourselves. On November 19th, shortly before filing this motion, juror number one admitted to the Take Care of Maya Facebook group that he had contacted plaintiff's counsel, who advised him that this very motion would be filed. Probably because we knew you would complain about everything. Believed by this Wednesday, defense has to have something filed. Then Judge C has to actually make some reviews and rulings before actually hitting the gavel and closing his phase of the case. So we're listening to counsel, as it ain't over yet. That was the deadline. He knew what the deadline was. And you guys waited till the last day, and then you filed something. He's like, they've filed something every other time they can complain. They're probably going to do it again, right? On November 15th, Law and Lumber hosted plaintiff's expert Dr. Joe Corcoran. Dr. Joe, amazing, on his YouTube live stream. If you haven't subscribed to Dr. Joe, please do. He's on YouTube. He just released a new video the other day, and it's great. It's about 8 minutes long. It's a good watch, and I think he's going to have some great stuff. If you're interested in this and want to continue the conversation that began in the Take Care of Maya trial, that's going to be a great forum to do that on. And he's a fantastic guy. Thanks for coming on the show as well, Dr. Joe. You're amazing, amazing dude. All right. Dr. Corcoran spoke about his view that the video of the then current CEO and then interim CEO of Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital should not have been excluded in the punitive damages phase. And that if he had not, you can ask juror number one, says Dr. Joe, he's joking, that would have put another 0 on the punitive damages. In response, juror number one commented that would have added 14 zeros. Exactly 14 zeros. I don't know what that number is, but it's big, okay? It's also very funny. It's a funny comment. In addition to the above improper contacts and communications, which happened after the trial, defendant has a reasonable basis to believe that juror number one also inappropriately conducted internet research regarding one or more issues on this case in violation of the court's order not to consider information outside the evidence presented at trial. Wait. Let's back up. Let's back up a little bit. You're telling me that juror number one, according to defense, has doing all this research outside, has been talking to people and figuring out what's up in the trial when, what's happening when the juror is not present. Apparently that's what they're addressing. And then here in this conversation, he says that if he had known, if this guy hadn't been excluded, there would have been all this other stuff. Wouldn't he have known if he was doing this research? Wouldn't he have known what was excluded? Maybe. All right. Let's see. On October 9th, juror number one posted the following question to Maya Kowalski. When it comes to creature comforts, were you made to feel comfortable, or were you made to or just felt that you were in a hostile place? The phrase creature comfort was not used by any witness at trial, but it is used on Dr. Kirkpatrick's RSD Foundation website related to the ketamine treatment, as demonstrated below. Can somebody do a quick Google search and search for the phrase creature comfort and just tell me how many hits they get? I'm guessing it will be more than the one from this page, because look at this. It says creature comfort. Let me see if I can find it. Well, it's not in the screenshot. Let's see. Information, coma procedure, visit this, key to success, as possible, hold as close and safety. Oh, there it is, creature comfort right here. It took a while to find it, but it's right. Oh, this is a picture, so I can't highlight it, but it's right there. Creature comfort. Clearly, he drew. Look, 6-foot bus did the work for us. 16.9 million hits. Took 47 seconds. You guys are using. One of you used Bing. Clearly, one of you used Bing, and one of you used Google. But 16.9 million. I think you did 6-volt. I'm going to say you did in quotes. So you limit it to the two words had to come together. And Eva, you probably just had the two words themselves. Anyway, so clearly, with all the places he could have got that information, including just his head, okay, because creature comfort is a thing, that shows that there's a problem, apparently. Moreover, in videos on his website depicting his treatment of other females of similar age as Maya, Dr. Kirkpatrick often uses the phrase creature comforts when speaking to patients about the circumstances under which ketamine treatment is most effective. It is defendant's reasonable belief, based on the foregoing, that juror number 1 visited Dr. Kirkpatrick's website to research issues in this case, including with respect to a diagnosis and treatment of CRPS in violation of this court's order. Clearly, how would he have known if he hadn't been on that website? Laura says, was listening to Megan Fox yesterday. She made a mention that Greg Anderson wanted to get on with her again. Some issue with the defense and jurors has been cooking a little bit. This would be it, I think. This would be it. I hope Megan does get Greg Anderson on to talk about this a little bit. That would be fascinating to hear his take on it. I imagine, let me just guess here. I'm going to go out on a limb. I imagine the first thing that Greg does when he talks about this is laugh, which is what I did. Finally, it appears, based on public search of the Sarasota County court docket, that Deborah Salisbury was involved in Mrs. Domestic Relations proceeding, a fact that never disclosed on juror number 1's jury questionnaire during voir dire. Similarly, juror number 1 denied viewing the Netflix documentary related to this case, Take Care of Maya, on his supplemental juror questionnaire, and denied having any conversations or overhearing any conversations concerning this movie. This seems unlikely, given the Mrs. heavy engagement, investment, and close monitoring of the case, the court docket, and her following on social media of the movie producers for the documentary. Juror number 1's post-trial post to the Take Care of Maya Facebook group and further undermine his feigned ignorance of the documentary. Evidence of juror misconduct on the part of juror number 1, both individually and arising out of his wife's involvement in the case, social media posts, and obvious bias in favor of plaintiffs, is substantial, presumptively prejudicial, and compromises the integrity of the verdict, the jury system, and the judicial process as a whole. This evidence gives rise to reasonable belief that juror number 1 impermissibly obtained and shared information about the case during the course of the trial with and through his wife, as well as plaintiff's advocate, Jules, in violation of the court's instructions and requirements of Florida law. And because the evidence provides a reasonable basis for an inquiry, defendant moves for an interview of juror number 1 in the support of its motion for a new trial, and at the court's discretion for an interview of juror number 1's wife. In addition, defendant further requests limited discovery into the issue of juror misconduct in anticipation of the interview, as well as an emergency order requiring juror number 1 and his wife to preserve text messages, social media activity, and other electronic data evidencing communications regarding the trial. And now we've got the legal standard. In support for this, you've got the law that permits a party to move for a juror interview if the party believes that the grounds for a legal challenge to the verdict may exist. An interview of the juror is proper where there's a reasonable basis to believe that a prejudicial act occurred supporting a legal basis for a new trial, such as improper contact with a juror, like being married to them, or misconduct of a juror. More laws here. They've picked, and I will tell you, they've picked and chosen the parts of the law that seem to be in their favor. And I believe, if you were to look this up, there are other parts that also are equally or on a balance restrictive and the same thing. And what they're asking for is actually probably very difficult to achieve, especially with zero evidence. All right. Let's see. Contact with a juror during the trial about the pending matter, as defendant believes occurred in this case, constitutes presumptively prejudicial jury misconduct. Once improper conduct has been established, the burden then shifts to the party seeking to preserve the jury's verdict to demonstrate that the contact was harmless. So that means that the plaintiff has to prove nothing happened. Then possibly a new trial. There's the legal argument. Evidence of juror misconduct undermines the integrity of the judicial process and warrants a new trial as a matter of public policy. A lot of this is going to be case law heavy and repetitive. So I'm not going to read everything verbatim, if that's all right. A spontaneous exclamation says, "Who wants to meet me next week outside of J Hatch to hold up signs that say you still don't get it?" Just make sure you're on public property. Check with the laws. You might have to actually get a permit depending on the area, but just make sure you're legal in everything you do. As we support following the law, and at the same time, I believe they still don't get it. Okay, a juror's bias, prejudice is not fair or impartial. This is more case law. 4th District conversations. This is a case law. And I know Kurt's like, read this. This is important. I'm going to let the legal minds that can really tear the case law apart and dig into it, not just what's been included in here, but what's in the actual filings, to show that there's additional stuff. Because usually when you cite case law, one side like picks and chooses like a highlighted portion that says, see, it says right here. But if you read the whole page, sometimes it even says the opposite. So we're gonna hold off on that one. Okay, let's see what we've got. Some more stuff. We've got evidence of juror number 1 suspected bias in favor of the plaintiffs, more specifically set forth in defendant's motion to disqualify juror, has been compounded and confirmed by unsolicited evidence discovered post-trial involving the heavy social media participation in the trial on the part of juror number 1's wife and presumptive agent, the missus, as well as the agent, the missus, as well as Mrs. Presence at the trial and friendly communications with plaintiff's advocate, Jules. It has also been confirmed by juror number 1's own social media participation post-trial, which even the internet community has recognized as indicative of jury taint and misconduct. As noted, the Mrs. social media posts include information she could only have obtained from her husband. I have not seen anything she could only have obtained for her husband. The evidence, therefore, provides a reasonable bias for defendant to believe that juror number 1 communicated with his wife during the trial regarding the case in violation of this court's instruction. Such communications, in turn, constitute presumptively prejudicial misconduct under Florida law. Contact with the juror during trial about the pending matter falls within the category of potentially harmful and presumptively prejudicial misconduct. The record evidence incorporated herein demonstrates that potentially prejudicial communications between juror number 1 and his wife occurred during the course of the 9-week trial. Defendant does not have to conclusively establish that a misconduct occurred and actually prejudice its case, but only a basis for an inquiry. Defendant has satisfied its burden by supporting its motion for an interview with allegations of juror misconduct. So we say, we have, just by us saying that something happened, it should be enough that we get to depose juror number 1 and juror number 1's wife, if the court will let them, which I don't think they will. I don't think they'll let them even talk to juror number 1. I don't think they've proven anything. I don't think they have any evidence that even goes to that. I don't see it in this. The missus not only demonstrated a shocking alignment with emotional investment in a verdict in favor of the plaintiffs, but as the wife of the jury foreman, her conduct threatens the integrity of the judicial process. Defendant, at a minimum, is therefore entitled to interview juror number 1 to determine the nature and extent of his communications with his wife. Good luck. With whom he resided during the course of a 9-week trial. There it is again. They lived together. You guys, I hate to out them for doing this, but they were married and they lived together in the same house for at least 9 weeks. If the social media posts and commentary of the misses are any indication, these communications have been substantial, in direct violation of this court's instructions to the jurors, nope, she's not a juror, and therefore compromise the integrity of the judicial system and warrant a new trial as a matter of law. Defendant's entitled to a new trial if the juror interview establishes improper context and communications between juror number 1 and his wife regarding the case, which I believe they have not done. Defendant believes it will establish improper context and communications between juror number 1 and his wife during the trial or other majority misconduct by juror interview. They say, if you let us dig for this, we bet we could find something. Guess what? They don't have anything yet, and they need to have something to dig for it. This isn't not open fishing season for potential evidence. Okay, we're going to have a drink here. This is good. It's really, really good. And it's not sweet at all. Wow. Pop. Polar, huh? Yummy. All right. This is like a grapefruit juice I'm drinking. It's like soda. It's grapefruit soda. It's like a Fresca. It's what it tastes like. It's like a off-brand Fresca. Okay, where were we? I'm using the wrong mouse. That would help. All right. The defendant would be entitled to a new trial as a matter of law unless the plaintiffs can demonstrate there is no reasonable possibility that juror misconduct affected the verdict. That the juror misconduct affected the verdict. They have to first have jury misconduct, which they don't have. They literally have to have jury misconduct to get to this point. And then, if they have some misconduct, then the plaintiff has to say, no, actually, that didn't cause a problem in the verdict. And they can prove that. Defendant submits that it will be impossible for plaintiffs to satisfy their burden of demonstrating the no reasonable possibility that jury misconduct event affected the verdict. We say, there's no possible way You could tell us that this didn't happen. It'll be impossible to defend because they were married together and lived together in the same house. Not surprisingly, the defendant has not located a reported decision revealing the extent of social media participation and blatant bias exhibited in this case. What does that mean? We haven't found anything in the courts about this. The 5th District has noted that jurors who tweet, blog, and surf continue to disrupt and derail lengthy trials, resulting in mistrials and unnecessary waste of public and private resources. That's as close as they've come. Jurors who are tweeting about the trial cause problems for the trial. That didn't happen here. It didn't happen here. I'm not seeing it. Everything that happened from juror number 1 was after the verdict. After the judge says, you're now released, guess what you can do? You can go talk to everybody. Media, social media, the reporters outside, us on YouTube. That's what happened. But this motion does not involve a mere instance of tweeting and blogging or alleged juror misconduct arising from the use of social media during trial. Rather, the evidence presented reveals a shocking and pervasive use of social media by the spouse of a jury foreperson with whom the juror resided during the course of a 9-week trial. Don't forget, they lived together in the same house because they were married for at least 9 weeks. Accompanied by a highly improper and pervasive bias in plaintiff's favor, the evidence also reveals juror number 1's participation in the same social media activity post-trial. Guess it, yeah, because that's when the juror could. That's because he was following the rules, Mr. Shapiro. He was following the rules, demonstrating a shared bias in plaintiff's favor on the part of the family. The Mrs., as juror number 1's wife, should have displayed an extra level of respect for the judicial process, if only to avoid any appearance of impropriety arising out of her role of the wife as the wife of the jury foreman. But instead, she incessantly and publicly posted inside information on social media about the trial she could only have obtained from her husband, because apparently that's where women get information, according to Mr. Shapiro, from their husbands. In clear contrast with Murphy, the circumstances at issue have substantially undermined defendants' right to a fair trial, compromised the integrity of the judicial system, and thwarted substantial justice, warranting a new trial. I've heard they might see each other from time to time, says Kurt. That it's because they live together in the same house, Kurt. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but they were married, and during the trial, at least the 9-week trial, they lived together in the same house. You might have missed that fact. I just can't make this jump, this logical jump of why she would not be able to, come to any conclusions, which all of us came to without being married to juror number 1. Why she could not come to those same conclusions without juror number 1 telling her. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it just boggles my mind. All right. Indeed, while defendant has not located a Florida state court decision with analogous facts, likely because of the egregious and therefore uncommon nature of the misconduct at issue, other courts have condemned the type of intra-family communications between jurors and their spouses and other family members that appear to have occurred in this case, even without evidence of actual prejudice. So we have no case law to say that this is a problem. We have zero case law to say that what we have here is a problem, but we can assume, we can guess, we can insinuate. For example, the district court acknowledged that extraneous influences demonstrating the existence of partiality or bias may be shown by communications or other contact between jurors and third persons. Between jurors and third persons. Where is the contact between the jurors and the third person? You've got nothing. You've got contact between the third person and all the other people who also are not jurors. The court noted that third-party contact with jurors, once proven by a defendant, creates a presumption of prejudice and shifts the burden to rebut such prejudice to the opponent, acknowledging that the failure to negate the presumed prejudice results in a new trial. They're missing the key link. They're missing the misconduct part. That's what they're missing. They want to say because the juror's wife did things that she's allowed to do, we just can't accept the fact that the juror did not participate, did not communicate with her. That these two people who have, first of all, law enforcement experience, who knows about the court system, how important it is to follow the law, and has served in this arena, and a true crime addict who follows the court cases and loves and understands the process and respects it and wants to observe it as it happens, that these two people the defense cannot fathom that these two people could follow the judge's instructions. Why? Because they were too complex? No, because they lived together. They were married in the same house. All right. The jurors readily admitted they discussed the case in Gaffney. Two jurors readily admitted they discussed the case regularly with their spouses, which the court observed was in direct contravention to the court's repeated admonition not to discuss the case with anyone. This is a different case. This is case law, like a different similar trial. In the Gaffney court, they concluded that discussing the case with family members creates a possibility that some of the jurors considered either evidence, issues, or opinions not considered by other jurors, and that discussion with family members about the case cannot be dismissed as harmless. So, in a case where the jurors did break the rules, there's a possibility it could have been a problem. That's a different situation than what we have here. They cite another case, concluded that even evidence of nonverbal communications between a juror and a juror's spouse was improper, warranting an evidentiary hearing. Repeated nonverbal communication, including the juror looking to her husband with a questioned look in her face, and her husband responding by nodding and rolling his eyes. Did we have that? No. We had no clue. I think they even mentioned in here that he never looks at her. Anyway, let's see. Improper juror communication, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Notably, 10th Circuit in Stauffer rejected the argument that a hearing was not necessary because juror Vetter had stated she had refused to talk about the case when her husband had attempted to talk to her about the trial. The 10th Circuit considered the juror's credibility, determining that the witness's testimony regarding the nonverbal communications constituted credible evidence of improper jury communication, and disregarding juror Vetter's explanation. So even though she says, "I refuse to talk to me," oh my goodness. Okay, so they got a hearing in that one. Then you've got State versus Perry, another example like Stauffer. It's very similar. So they're showing case law where other things happen. These decisions are instructive on the issue before the court. Specifically, courts that have specifically addressed juror misconduct arising out of conversations between a juror and his or her spouse or family member regarding the case have determined that such communications are not harmless, but instead presumptively prejudicial. Here, defendant has presented evidence and a sworn affidavit establishing a reasonable bias that the belief that juror number one and his wife, the missus, who resided together during the course of the 9-week trial, don't forget this part, engaged in improper contacts and communications regarding the case in violation of this court's instructions. So they've presented evidence and a sworn affidavit establishing a reasonable basis for the belief. Their reasonable basis for the belief is they do not believe that the wife of a juror could come to any conclusion about the case without her husband telling her. And that is what I read in this document. As if I could boil it down to the Cliff Notes version, that's what they're saying. And because they don't believe that the wife of a juror could come to any conclusion by physically witnessing with her own eyes what was happening in the courtroom, then clearly, in the defense's mind, there was improper communication. Let's see. In the Mrs.'s social media posts reveal far more than a passing interest in the case, and instead a strong bias in favor of the plaintiffs and emotional investment in a verdict in their favor, similar to the juror's husband in Perry. So they're saying, see the similarities? Under the circumstances, it strains credulity to believe that the Mrs. and her husband, juror number one, did not discuss the case during the 9-week trial when they lived together in the same house. To the contrary, the content of the Mrs.'s social media posts reveal inside information she could only have discovered from her husband. Her heavy emotional involvement in the trial and in a verdict in the plaintiff's favor is further evidence of a shared bias on the part of her husband, juror number one, the same bias that prompted defendant's motion to remove him as a juror before the verdict. The circumstantial evidence gives rise to a reasonable belief that juror number one and his wife together formulated a shared bias in favor of the plaintiffs during the trial, discussed that bias and the case throughout the trial, resulting in presumptively prejudicial misconduct, undermining the integrity of the jury process and warranting a new trial. Defendant therefore requests a juror interview in order to establish the existence of presumptively prejudicial communications between juror number one and the missus. Although such communication surely would be denied, this court, like the courts in Stauffer and in Perry, has discretion to assess the credibility under the circumstances and to rely instead on the evidence in its totality. So they're basically saying, if you let us interview them, we'll find the proof. We're going to be like, like Sally Smith. We will find the abuse. That's what we do. We'll look for it. We're going to find it. It's got to be there somewhere, right? We're going to find the problem. And then right here they say, and by the way, if you let us look for it, if you let us interview them, we're not going to find anything because they're going to say there wasn't anything. And so instead, we want you to rule in our favor, even though we don't have any evidence here, and when we look for it, we're not going to find it either. That's what I hear. Moreover, assuming such communications are established, defendant further submits that it will be impossible for the plaintiffs to prove there is no reasonable possibility that the juror misconduct affected the verdict. Accordingly, defendant submits it has satisfied the standard for entitlement to a juror interview, and that its entitlement to a new trial will be established once the requested juror interview is conducted. Part D. Juror number 1 and his wife should be ordered to preserve all text messages, social media activity, and other electronic data evidencing communications regarding the trial. The defendant has learned the individuals associated with juror number 1, individuals associated with juror number 1 and his wife, people not juror number 1 and his wife, have begun deleting social media posts. Guess who else deletes social media posts? Elon Musk deletes social media posts. And presumptively text messages upon the belated realization that the misses, along with the juror number 1, are participants in juror misconduct. Any such spoliation of evidence on the part of juror number 1 and his wife will necessarily undermine defendant's ability to provide the court with a complete record of the misconduct set forth herein. Defendant therefore requests the entry of an emergency order precluding juror number 1 and his wife from deleting text messages, social media activity, and any other form of electronic data pertaining to this case, pending the requested juror interview. Now they've got some case law. More case law. Defendant further requests a limited discovery into the reference communications and electronic data in preparation for the requested juror interview. They want their phones. They want their computers. They want their social media passwords. They want their internet search history. That little sentence, that's what they want right here. Defendant limited discovery into the reference communications, which was what? Text messages, social media activity, any other form of electronic data pertaining to the case. that limited bit of everything is what we want. Circumstantial evidence creating an appearance of juror misconduct undermines the integrity of the judicial process and warrants a new trial under Florida law as a matter of public policy. A more compelling case of juror misconduct than the one presented by this motion can hardly be imagined. Defendant suspected juror number 1 of a bias in favor of the plaintiffs before the jury began their deliberations. It's like we sniffed it out. We could smell it. We knew he was for the plaintiff, says the defendant, and therefore moved to disqualify juror number 1 to replace him with an alternate. Referring to his client, in quotes, Jack Kowalski predictably chose to allow juror number 1 to remain, acknowledging his victory with a smile to his TikTok advocate, Jules, who developed a friendship at trial with juror number 1's wife. The misses. Social media posts and commentary in turn reveal not only a palpable bias and prejudice in plaintiff's favor, but inside information she only could have obtained from her husband. There it is. Juror number 1. They resided together in the same household for the course of an entire 9-week trial. They lived together, guys. What is this? Point number 7, 8 times they've told us that the husband and wife lived together in the same house while they were married. It's strange credulity to believe that the two were not sharing information regarding the case, particularly given the nature of their social media participation, which was completely one-sided, just one person. Drama Llama, I apologize. The slow chat, we have to slow down occasionally because it goes so fast that nobody can read anything when we have a few people here, which we do today. All right. Defendant does not have to prove actual misconduct to be entitled to a juror interview under Florida law. Rather, defendant only has to establish a reasonable belief that misconduct occurred to be entitled to interview a juror regarding presumed misconduct. And once juror misconduct is established, a new trial is warranted unless the non-moving party can establish beyond a reasonable possibility that the juror misconduct did not affect the verdict. Yes, hard to imagine, Apple Jam. Hard to imagine they lived together during the 9-week trial because they were married, the same house. Aquamarin, plaintiff counsel should get a randomized dozen true crime wives to testify, and then the defense is impossible to know facts. These ladies are brutal. Seriously, have they not met a true crime addict? Have they not? Do they have any clue? I would say, if anything, juror number 1's wife has a mild case of liking true crime. Mild case. Yeah, we know who the addicts are. We know who lives and breathes, who gets notifications every time case law is updated. Okay, we find them over on Discord. we know a document hound like Amber Vixen, who can sniff out a new document and find it no matter where it is, even if it's not available online. This is what a true crime addict can do. And the depth of their involvement and be able to chase down related information that's not spelled out for them in the mainstream news story about it. Okay, it strains credulity to believe that they were not sharing information regarding the case, particularly given this nature of their social media participation. Defendant does not have to prove actual misconduct. We covered that a little bit. Defendant has more than satisfied its burden of proof on its entitlement to a juror interview under Florida law. Defendant therefore requests that the court order an interview of juror number 1 and in the court's discretion of his wife regarding the communications and contacts alleged herein and the affidavit accompanying this motion. Further, defendant further requests the entry of an emergency order requiring the preservation of text, social media activity. See, it's repetitive. The filing they've copied and pasted in many different parts. So it's the argument is repeated over and over. More on page 38. We're almost done. Finally, defendant requests limited discovery regarding the issues set forth herein in preparation for the requested juror interview. Wherefore, here's the big wherefore at the very end. Defendant Johns Hopkins, All Children's Hospital Incorporated, moves this court for an order permitting defendant to interview juror number 1 and his wife regarding the evidence discussed herein, opening discovery into further evidence of juror misconduct, and requiring juror number 1 and his wife to preserve all text messages, social media posts, and other forms of electronic data pertaining to the trial on an emergency basis. So certified by Mr. Howard Hunter. And that's the end. That's page 39. M. Young says, I feel dumber for having read this document, but it's entertaining reading it with you. I'm glad I was able to tell you, because how else would you have known this if I couldn't have told you? Clearly, this is the only way you can get information is by somebody who has it, and I had this information. So there's no possible way any of you could research this on your own by going to the court website and downloading a publicly available document from a court case you happen to have interest in. All right, here's what we have. Greeners has sent me the appendixes. Hang on. Let's see, where are we at? I need to check them. He says, just saw the documents go up attached, but I guess you have them. No, let me look here. Okay, that's the first one. There is the second. This is affidavit of Ethan Shapiro in support of defendant's motion. Okay, this is non-redacted. Okay. It's not redacted. Because of that, I can't show you this one. Hang on a second. That was a mod. Buffer, I'm trying to redact for you now. Thank you, Amber. Amber has the ability to redact things very... Oh, wow. We have pictures. Hang on. We have pictures. Just one second. Hold tight. There's one picture in particular I need to find, and it's going to be... Oh, there's me. Hey, they got a screenshot. Of me. Right there. It's a little screenshot. That's my... I made the filing. Let's see. We've got screenshots of everyone's social media. Holy cow. We've got 57 pages of screenshots of text messages, super chats, social media posts, TikTok videos. They've got some law and crime still frames to show seating in the courtroom. Oh, here's another one of me with a super chat from Hippo Lover asking the question, which clearly shows a problem. Look at this. She's saying,
Someone with more experience.
did they grant the plaintiffs more time? She's asking a question. It's too bad she wasn't talking to her husband, because her husband could have told her. Oh, wait, he couldn't, because he was following the judge's orders. She had to ask me, and I was able to tell her. All right. Lots of stuff. Oh, my goodness. Oh, there we are again. Another super chat. Thanks for the super chat, Hippo Lover. That was amazing.
When are we going to break for lunch?
That's a great idea. It's late. It's after 9. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. I'm looking for this picture of the judge. Oh, here he is. Guys, I've got to change my camera so you guys can get the full focus on this. This is the meme of Judge Hunter. We're going to go full screen so you guys get the full effect here. Let's see. Cut. This is the meme. Turn this off. Judge Hunter. Sorry, it's a little. The green is showing through. I went and got the IJ documents myself. So it's Judge right there. I went and got the documents myself. Oh my goodness. Judge photo in mod chat. Yeah, I just pulled it up here. I could crop it out a little bit. That's it's just hilarious. That was, I think, where was this at? Oh, that was on a Facebook group, the Take Care of Maya page. Somebody posted that. Let's see, what else do we have? Some more social media posts. Oh, look, guess who made it? This is going to be awesome. Rob's going to be thrilled. Let me turn this sideways so you can see this picture. The jury. Rob and the jury made the filing. The whole jury's there, and guess what they're wearing? They're wearing their little badges that says this jury made the filing. Great to see that, Rob. Anyway, we've got this will have to be redacted heavily because it's got a lot of names in it that I was not going to show. But they're out there now apparently, as they were sent to me. This jury is here. I do apologize. During the course of this hype, this is Kurt. During the course of this, I missed a lot of super chats, and I apologize. I'm not able to go back and see all of them. This is the furthest I can go. And K-Rab, by the way, thanks for the email. By the way, chat of all channels must have been having inappropriate communication with juror number 1 because we all came up with the same questions before hearing the jury's questions. Yeah, go figure.
When are we going to break for lunch?
When are we going to break for lunch? That's a great question. I normally don't get this fired up, but normally I don't find my own name in the court filings. It's very rare, and now we've made it in twice for what I would feel is a big nothing burger reason. Shapiro's just jealous no one made a picture of him like that. Mr. Shapiro, I'm right here. I'm going to extend to you an invitation to come on the show. I figure you're watching, or your people are. I'd love to have you on the show. I will do my best to be respectful of you, and I will just say throughout the trial, I spoke highly of you and your skills. I did not agree with what you were arguing for, but I spoke highly of your skills and the fact that you were lawyering very well for your client, and that your client should not feel ashamed of the effort you put in. But love to have you on the show. We'll do an interview, and I'll try to be really nice, even though I made fun of you just a little bit in this filing, because I think it's a stretch. I think what this is somebody taking spoonfuls of crap and flipping it at the wall and hoping that it sticks. That's what I think it is. I don't think there's anything to it. Just because the allegations I think you're not giving true crime addicts credit that they deserve to be able to watch a trial and develop questions in their own head, to be able to think something through and come up with ideas and do their own research. That so many people, even though they don't have a law degree by their name or have not spent years doing litigation work, can walk into a situation and smell something wrong and dig up their own research and do their own work on it. And I think the fact that your filing, you and Mr. Hunter's filing, contains just blatant accusations that nobody could have come up with that. Specifically, this woman, the wife of juror number 1, could not have come up with that unless juror number 1 told them, is absurd. I truly think it's absurd. And guess what? Yes, they lived together. They were married in the same house, even during the trial. And that's not a problem. All right. Do we have any other questions? Where's the meme? I think Amber is working on getting them redacted. Amber, are you redacting everything? So here's what I'll say. I don't have a Discord, but we do partner with we're good friends with the people over on Discord for As the Gavel Drops. That's not my Discord. They support a lot of different people. Amber says yes, she's working on them. Those pictures are going to be available. All the filings, the appendixes. Amber's trying to redact them appropriately as she sees fit. But those are going to be available over on the Discord page. And if you're interested in that, I'd love for you to join us over on Discord. We might even pop in for a late night chat if you want to jump over there. But I wanted to read this to you because my name's in it. And I will tell you that my name's in the appendix a ton. But it's awesome. Can you forward a copy of the document and redirect me to when you were done streaming? Yes, I'll do that. Kurt, if you're going to go live, let me set up the redirect first of all. Kurt has a great legal analysis. Are you? Do you have a? Let's see. Where's civil? Come on, Kurt. I don't see your post up yet. Let's see. If you hurry and put your little pointer up, I'll do that because I'm going to be wrapping up here in just a few minutes. The document, I'd like to send you a redacted copy. Is that okay? Because we're trying to be respectful of the wife's name, because the wife's name I believe is the same as the juror's name, and although the name is required to be in the court filings, I don't want to be the place where that name gets released, even though the court clerk did release it publicly, and that's how I got it. Sorry, my green screen's having problems. There's a time warp in the fabric of time or something. All right. Let's see. Yeah, set up the live. We'll port over to Kurt. Kurt's going to be spicy. That's awesome. I can't wait. I apologize, Kurt. I was. Let's see. Can we add these documents to the files in the Discord? I think you can. They're out publicly. They got emailed to me while I was live, so somebody has them. Greeners found them, and he got them from the website probably when they were available free. So let's see. Where are we at? Do we have any more questions? I apologize for missing super chats. I realized they were going by very quickly. Thank you very much for your generosity, all of you. If there's a question I can answer here before we wrap up for the night, I'd like to do that. But you don't have to ask a super chat. Just put like question marks at the front, and I'll see if I can grab it. Apple Jam, and they have the same last name. Collusion, yes, and they lived in the same house. Same house. They were married. Shh! Don't tell anyone. They were married. Let's see. Lark got a traffic ticket. Went on the city website and saw full social security number, driver license, everything. Called the city on providing to identity thief. Got my ticket dismissed. Lara, congratulations. That is awesome. All the docs are public again on the website, says Magical Mary. Let's see if they are public. Let me go back here. I am on the website right now. Case info, sarasotaclerk.com. Takes a bit for this case to pull up. Doc TJB. Wait, I'm confused. Did they live together? Yes, they are all available. Okay, so now we have all 122 pages available, and it's out publicly. Let me just do a quick check and see if they redacted anything. And they didn't. They didn't even redact the juror's address. That's not cool. Court, that's not cool. I'll put that out there. That's not cool to do that. Kenny Peterson, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I know it's almost Thanksgiving right now. You might as well stay here since you're not going to sleep. I'm wired. I'm wired. I'm also glistening. I'm a little warm. I'm sweaty. I drank this much. Oh wow! You can see how much I drank right there, where it sloshes around. I drank this much. I had one sip. I didn't have time to stop and talk. So let me also just say, because apparently the judge is going to be watching this now, that Judge Carroll, you're joining the ranks of other wonderful judges who who spent time with virtually, even without them knowing us. But now you can just go ahead and click the subscribe button as well. We'd love to see you in chat. We'd love to have an interview, talk with you about everything but this case, because that would be inappropriate, and we wouldn't want the defense to complain about that too. Britta says, "Can we have a recap? Just got here." Yes, the defense is complaining about everything on social media, and they have zero evidence, but they say they do. The fact they have no evidence is proof that there is something out there. Oh my goodness. Okay, please explain how you made it into the court records the first time. The first time we were sitting in court, it was pretty crazy. This was in the Zachariah Anderson trial, and let's see, we were sitting here watching virtually, watching the live stream and commenting on it, and providing added value and analysis and all that. And there was a point where the plaintiff, or excuse me, the prosecutor, had sort of crossed the line a little bit, and I got fired up. And I'm saying, you know what they need to do right now? They need to make him leave the room, and they need to pull this guy up. And I'm doing all this. And I said, and if there's anyone in the courtroom listening to me right now, this is what they need to do. They need to, and I was saying that, and I got like 15 seconds into my rant, and the judge had on his laptop, because he was reviewing the video that had been taken, and because he missed something that happened in court. He's reviewing video. The video didn't cover what he wanted to, so he pulled up his laptop and got to the live stream. Well, he got to our live stream, and then rewound to see what happened. And so here I am doing my rant, doing my thing, while I'm looking at the court, because we're sort of like staring at the ceiling, waiting for court to begin. And I hear in my headphones me doing a rant from like 20 seconds ago. Initially, I looked down on myself. I'm like, what did I hit to make an audio loop that delayed? And then I realized that it's coming from the court feed, and that the judge is listening to our live stream in court. And this is as the jury's, about to walk in. And so it sounded something like 9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addicts live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case.
Yeah, so I'm saying the fireworks are not done. This is not over. And the judge says, now we're getting commentary on the case, because here's my voice coming over the video. It was hilarious. So that's how we made it into the first court, but it wasn't really by name. We made it into the court records the first time on this trial when one of our viewers from another country found it highly inappropriate that I would follow the court's order and not show you the Zoom feed and not play the Zoom audio for you, but instead give my recount, my rendition of the events as they happened as a reporter. And so this person took it upon themselves to write to the court and complain about it, and wanted to let the court know that there's clearly some problems going on. And the judge was informed, and the counsel was informed. They got copies of the email. There was nothing wrong, but they thought this was just horrendous. How can somebody do this in court? And so they also found out that, guess what? Those emails are public, and your name and your email address and everything is now made public in the filings. So that's surprise. We learned a lot of things. I'm not no harm. I'm not no judgment against the person. They didn't know. They didn't know it was a problem. They thought they were doing the right thing, but they learned a lesson really quickly that, guess what? It's public. All right. That's how it happened. All right. Didn't find the John Shopkins memes apparently. I was looking for Shopkins memes. That would have been hilarious if they had those in there. So can we watch the judge rule on this, please? Lena, here's what's going to happen. The 15th, I think, the 15th of December, there's a hearing that is going to be handling the previous motion that was made. And I think there's going to be, between now and then, they'll probably try to find some time to address this issue and dismiss it, which I believe is what's going to happen. That's my personal belief, that there's nothing there and it's going to be dismissed. All of my meager womanly thoughts come from my husband, the interwebs of a recovery addict. That is hilarious. Spontaneous exclamation. Thank you very much for the super chat. Let's see. No fly list. You must have been on the live stream today when we had a caller. We had a prank caller. It's not a prank caller. It's an actual business that has deceptive advertising where they tell you have this huge credit to go on a trip, but really they say you only have to pay the balance and you're paying the full amount. And it's just deceptive that way. And they call me. I got 2 of those calls today. 2 calls today for that same call, the exact same script. But the second guy could barely speak the language, and I pretended I couldn't understand him. And finally he got tired of it and hung up. Anyway, I did tell the first guy that I was on the no-fly list. I've tried to exchange my air credits for Uber passes, but they won't do that either. Spontaneous exclamation, you must live with your husband, who you're married to. All right. Any other questions we can answer before we wrap things up? I think Kurt's probably had enough time to get his live stream up. Give me 1 second here. Add a redirect. Kurt. Why can I not redirect to you, my friend? Have you turned on the option to redirect, to allow redirects? Let's see. I see some other good people out there. Just don't see Kurt here. Kurt, I don't think you've turned on your option to allow me to redirect to you. It has to be authorized on your end. What is Recovery Addict's email address? You can find it on my About page on the YouTube, but I use MD for metal detecting, mdrecoveryaddict@gmail.com. That'll get to me. Indy Cindy, I was not expecting to go live tonight, but then
someone with more experience.
but then we had some fun and found ourselves in the court filings.
Don't miss the forest for the
trees. I did talk to Rob when this first went down, and it was comforting to have him call and explain some of the stuff of what was going on. He's not going live tonight. I think he's going to celebrate the holidays probably with family and friends, and so. Okay, try now. I'll give it a try. Jibbity bibbity. I was removed as a Galvadrop Discord without reason. I engaged in no activity other than reading. No possibility of violating any rule. Help. I don't know. I don't run the as the Galvadrops Discord. I don't know, and I don't know what your. I've never seen your username before, so I don't know what to tell you about that. I know that they have similar rules to me, just to be nice. But let's see. Hang on just one second. Let's see.
I'm not a cat.
There it is. Kurt, I see you. I found you. So we're going to redirect to Kurt when this is done. Let's see. Do you think Rob and Peter will have to testify if this gets granted? Do you think you, Rob, Peter? Here's what I think. There's a possibility and a very far outside possibility. First of all, the judge would have to grant the interview with the juror, which I don't think is going to happen. And then they'd have to grant the interview with the wife, which I don't think is going to happen. And then they'd want to expand their request to include information on our side, which probably doesn't make sense. But it would probably just be like can you submit an affidavit that that I wasn't in cahoots with the jury for some reason? Which I don't know if anyone would even guess. Why would they think that we were in cahoots and that we had some secret agents in the court? Anyone who watched this 9 weeks of trial with us knows that was not the case. Let's see. Let's see, Dee Dee, I'm sorry you feel that this Maya trial has ruined this channel. We tend to be a fun group here and be fairly fair. I try not to make fun of people, but I also generally don't find myself listed in court documents alleging that through me there was collusion with the jury. So it wasn't like I threw the first stone here. Let's see. Who makes this decision on the ruling? Would it be Judge Carroll? Yes, it would, Allison. Judge Carroll is probably going to be the one that addresses this.
I'm not a cat.
Let's see. And Dee Dee, I will tell you, I appreciate differing opinions, and we have had differing opinions throughout this. Yeah, Mrs. R is deleting things. I'm not sure what she's deleting. I'm not sure if it's her deleting things. Let's be nice to everybody. Dee Dee, let me just say, I appreciate differing opinions. We just ask that it be done respectfully. I've not been the most respectful of the defense today. I've made mock of their filing. I will continue to say that I think they are phenomenal lawyers and that they're good at what they do. I don't like the what they were doing and what they were defending. Over time, as I watched this trial, for me, it felt like that they were not in the best interest of the child in the situation, who I believe did not do anything wrong. That's just the conclusion I came to. But you guys, let's be nice to Dee Dee and welcome them. Let's just be respectful. We can share opinions. All right. All right. Before I know it's late. And Thanksgiving is coming. I don't know if half of us are drunk. It's not me because this is all. I don't drink, first of all, and this is all I have. But appreciate you guys being here. Is there any other questions we have to answer before we go? I apologize, Dee Dee. I think you ruffled some feathers there a little bit. They get a little defensive of me. I will tell you. I hope you stay, and I hope you're able to make some comments and things, even if they are different than what I feel or what the majority feels. I'm not always in the majority. I'm very often proven wrong on this channel, and that will continue. Let's see. Amber, do you have the document done? Kurt, do you want the one I just read? Give me just one second. Okay. Let me know if that would be fine. Okay, give me just 1 second. Where was it? It was number 3. Hey, Kurt, shoot me a quick text so I can get this over to you. Just do you want it by email or downloads? Okay, this is the one. We're gonna share this. Okay, let me see if I can text this to you. Can I text it or do you need an email?
When are we going to break for lunch?
You guys, we're going to break for lunch soon, I promise. Either one. Okay, let me send it to your phone. Just 1 second.
Have them send someone with more experience.
I love that sound effect. I'm gonna fix it so it's a little bit louder, but we'll get this working. Okay. Okay, let's see if that one went, Kurt. Give me just 1 second. It looks like it went through. Let me know if it didn't work. And what we're going to do is Kurt, for those that don't know, Kurt, on civil law here, Kurt is an actual lawyer, licensed to practice in the state of North Carolina and Texas, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he is very good at breaking down legal documents and analyzing them and giving commentary. He does it in a different way than I do. So if you expect him to be me, he's not, which is awesome. You get some variety, and we love that. So we're going to point everyone, once this live stream ends, which will be here in just a couple minutes, we're going to point people over to Kurt's channel, and he's going to be able to tear apart those parts, legally speaking, that I sort of glossed over, that might mean something more than I was able to, using my weak little mind, be able to deduce on my own. Jibbity bibbity, I hope you can join and get it figured out. Appreciate you being here. I don't run that channel. I'm not a mod over there. I can't do anything. I go there and read documents is what I do, and talk to people. Earbuds in the Kitchen says, so weird that you want to watch and comment with other people about a national known trial for 9 weeks. You can't talk to your husband. I'm literally shaking right now. Earbuds, it's crazy. It's crazy. I can't wait to hear Kurt's take on this. I think it's going to be great. Kurt, glad you got it. I'm gonna send people over right now if you want to fire it up. That way there'll be a landing page. I would ask that when we go over to Kurt's page, if you can do 2 things, even if you're not able to stay, because I realize it's getting late for some of you. First, click on the like button and maybe even share it with a friend. Make a quick comment there, say hi, and stick around for a little bit and to hear some analysis. So that's going to be great. I'm going to hit that button, which means that we're actually going to be over for the day. Fun and Funky says, it's 3 a.m. I need to sleep. It's almost time to put the turkey in the oven. Fun and Funky. I don't know what country you're in. 3 a.m. Is that Australia? in Australia. All right. As I've told you before, I am so grateful for you, for this community. This is such a fun place to be. It's awesome. I love that we get to do this. We get to be together. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's late. I hope all of you have a happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating tomorrow. I hope you're all safe if you're traveling. And please, tonight when you go home, hug the people you love. Smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again. It'll be Monday morning. Have a great, safe weekend, unless something weird happens on Friday. You never know. There might be another filing. Anyway, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. We're going to port everyone over to Uncivil Law. Make sure you click the like button when you land. I appreciate that. Kurt's a great lawyer. He gives some great insight. I hope you give him a shot. So thank you very much. All right, we'll call it quits now. I'm going to finish my drink that I got 2 sips out of. Then I'll fix the sound effects so they work properly. You guys be good to each other. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.